All set. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. My name is Dave White. I'm the Recreation Tourism Specialist for New York Sea Grant and the Associate Director of the Great Lakes Research Consortium. And on behalf of Sea Grant, I coordinate our Great Lakes Basin Small Grant Program and oversee the RFP development, implementation, and oversee it through the contracting process through the university. Megan Kutcher is also here with us. She is providing all the technical support because I would have completely messed this up. So thank you, Megan. Love having you here to make sure we do this correctly and we have it all on board as well. Also, the guy in the snow, got to change that. Roy Widrig is also here from the Sea Grant staff. He is our coastal processes and erosion specialist. So there he is. So if we have questions about Roy, for Roy as well, he's on the call as well. So essentially, we are going to spend a little bit of time talking about the RFP and the process. I'm going to kind of walk through some of the key components of the RFP to try to give everybody the information that might be helpful. After that, we will open it up to questions. If you have a specific question about your proposal or proposal idea, I'd suggest you give me a call or drop me an email and we'll set up a time to talk in the next week or so, because you may have specific questions about what you want to propose that won't have a bearing for other folks. So this is really more about process. Make sure you understand where we're headed and what we're after. So that I will get started. And like I say, I'm just going to kind of walk through some stuff. Megan has developed a new website for us. She's going to spend a few minutes talking about that. So probably take us maybe 10-15 minutes and then we'll hit any questions that you might have. I am taking this right out of the RFP because the RFP is the guidepost for this. We follow the RFP to the letter, and it's a Cornell University funded process. I do mean to the letter. So please read the RFP closely. Please follow it closely, because if not, we will not be able to review your proposal and definitely would not be able to fund it if you were successful. This is the New York Sea Grant Great Lakes Small Grant Program for 2022 to 2023. I like to read this only because it gets everybody pieces all there. New York Sea Grant, in partnership with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, is requesting proposals for projects that serve the benefit of the environment and economy of New York's Great Lakes Basin by developing the application of ecosystem-based management. Whatever project you may be thinking of proposing, it has to be presented and focused on ecosystem-based management. The review will include that. If you don't link it for us, it won't be considered. It has to be linked to ecosystem-based management. There are resources in here that talk about it more specifically, and there's information in the Great Lakes Action Agenda as well. That application is to local watershed challenges. This small grants program is made possible by the New York State Environmental Protection Fund in Article 14 of the Environmental Conservation Law. That's the paid advertisement. Proposals are due July 1, 4:30 p.m. and all have to be submitted through the online portal to New York Sea Grant that Megan will talk about to make sure everybody gets into that portal and can get access to it and all of the forms. The submission deadline is July 1st. Our hope is to be able to let you know of award applications around the 1st of August. Project terms will be September 1, 2022 to December 31, 2023. I would suggest that you take the entire time for your project, even if it's only going to be the first 6 months. Take the entire time. If you put in a proposal, use those dates, even if you're going to end sooner, because right now we are having an issue with our ability to award no cost extensions. So if you put a proposal in that you said, oh, it's only going to run until December, and you give us an end date of December, I may not be able to extend it beyond December. So use that entire timeline, and your project, like I say, has to be completed by December 31st, 2023. We are hoping we will get permission to be able to give no cost extensions, but right now, because of a master contract between the state and Cornell University, we do not have that authority. This small grants program is designed to support projects that are related to and part of DEC's Great Lakes Action Agenda. Again, in the RFP, there's a direct link to the Great Lakes Action Agenda. It is up to you for the review team to demonstrate ecosystem-based management, and to identify how it relates to the Great Lakes Action Agenda. We will not do that for you. I will not make the assumption that it is goal number 7, whatever goal number 7 may be within the Great Lakes Action Agenda. Please do that for us. Very important. We have every year we do this. This is my 6th year running the RFP process. Every year we do it uniquely differently. We try to provide a different focus, so we're covering lots of different things. We have a very different but very defined focus for this year's RFP. And again, I will read directly out of the RFP so I don't confuse myself or anyone else. We are soliciting proposals for up to $50,000. Yes, up to $50,000 for those that have applied in the past. We have doubled the amount of each proposal, and we hope to fund 8 to 10, meaning some of you may come in under the 50, so we will fund as many as we possibly can, but you are now able to ask for up to $50,000 in each proposal. The projects should focus on implementing the goals of the Great Lakes Action Agenda, and this is what this focus is, as well as actions that are specifically identified in locally supported plans pertaining to water quality, natural resources, or sustainable land use of the Great Lakes. What I mean by that is, I'll make this up. If your community has an LWRP, it's an approved plan by your community in partnership with the state of New York, in there are specific actions. This funding source page 5, word for word. It's not, well, we said that 3 years ago, but we'd really like to do something else. It is to fund those projects. If you put a project in that is not already currently today in a plan, it won't follow suit with the RFP and won't be considered because it's not following the RFP. Very different. What we have decided to do is fund things people said they wanted. So it just has to be in a community-based plan. And, you know, we really are focusing on that. So I really wanted to share that with folks. The proposed project needs to come directly from a plan as originally proposed. So again, it's not, well, that's what we said then, but this is what we think now. That's what it is about. And in the proposal, we go LWRP on page 10, subsection 4, category 1. Please identify it for us, because some of these may not be online. So we need that identification for us. And you also have to, in the proposal, identify at least one action item goal in the Great Lakes Action Agenda. So those are the 2 things it needs to conform to. Here's the localized plan, and here's how it fits the state Great Lakes Action Agenda plan. And again, we're going to fund about 8 to 10,000. We're allocating up to $400,000 for this process this year. Who can apply? It's very well laid out. Who can apply? Again, the project direction, budget size, cost share. There is no match. Please, 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 there is no match. You will not get bonus points for it, but the university will require you to then identify it. So if you say to us, oh, I want 50,000 and I'm going to match it 50,000, way to go. Good for you. No bonus points. And you've just taken that match that you may have used for something else and allocated it to Cornell University for this project. And you will have to substantiate that in your budget. Don't match it. Please. We all know how this process works. If you match this, you lose it for the opportunity to match it to other areas. Again, how and when to submit, July 1st, 2022. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Megan, and she's going to talk about our new website that gives you some great opportunity to look at past projects, some of the types of things we have funded, but also how you can actually apply where you go to make sure you have all of the right forms. So Megan, I'm going to shoot it over to you for a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. I'm just dropping the link in the chat very quickly so that people, if they want to check it out and follow along with me as I run through it. So the website URL is the same as it's always been. So nycgrant.org/GL small grants. So I just popped that in the chat, and then I'm gonna just pull up my screen and give you guys a little bit of an overview of how to navigate this new website and some of the new resources that we have. So when you first go to the site, you'll be on this program overview landing page. And so this gives some background on the Small Grants Program, how it started. There is a link to the Great Lakes Action Agenda, and then some information, some summary statistics about the program. And as you get down here, this introduces some of our new resources that we have. So one of those is the new project dashboard. And then we also have some project story maps. So you can get to those by clicking these buttons or along the top navigation here. So we'll go ahead and check out the dashboard. And I do recommend, if you're going to play around with the dashboard, to open it in full screen. It does work a little bit better in full screen. So we'll pull that up here. So as this loads up, this is a really cool new interactive resource that we have that gives a quick overview of all of the past funded projects through the Small Grants Program. So there's this fully interactive map here that displays the locations of all the projects that have been funded throughout New York's Great Lakes Basin. You can zoom in, you can click on projects to get a little bit more information. Oops. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. But yeah, and then so you can get some information about each project, when it was funded, how much was funded, the recipient organization, the PI, a little project description, which Great Lakes Action Agenda goals they focused on addressing, and then some of them do have images to go with them as well. But up here, you have a quick summary of how many funds have been awarded since this program started, how many recipients we've had receive these grants, and how many projects have been funded. So we've funded 46 projects so far, a total of over $1 million, which is pretty awesome. So this panel over to the left just again introduces the Small Grants Program, lists out the Great Lakes Action Agenda goals. There's also some dashboard navigation tips if you scroll down. I know a lot of people might be new to the dashboard platform, so it can be a little confusing at first, but this gives you a little bit of tips on how to navigate. So if you scroll along the bottom here, you can get to a list of all the projects listed by title. What's nice about the dashboard, though, is that we have these filtering options along the top. So if you're looking for specific projects, you can filter by funding period. So for example, if you want to just see what was funded our very first year of the program, you can go there and see that we funded 4 projects, and it filters the map and the project list. And you can click on one of those, it'll highlight on the map and pull up that project details. And then you can just reset that. And then you can also filter by recipient organization. So if you want to see, you know, what people are doing, you can go there. You can filter by sub-basin, and you can also filter by which Great Lakes Action Agenda goal was addressed. So this is just a really nice way to get a quick overview of some of the projects that have been funded and where they're located. And yeah, it's a pretty fun interactive tool. So I'll go back to the website and go over to the project story maps. A lot of people are probably familiar with story maps at this point, but if you're not, story maps is like a storytelling platform that combines text, images, videos, and just kind of puts it together in this very like interactive, you know, fun to scroll through piece that tells a story. And so we're creating these for every project that has been funded. At this point, we have 5 project story maps listed on the website, but we are working on creating more for the other past projects, and they will be added to the site as those are finished. So I'll just open one as a quick example. So this was a project that was completed by the Western New York Land Conservancy in 2017. And you can just scroll through and read about where the project took place, the project goals, if they ran into any issues, how they overcame those. So we really intend for these story maps in the dashboard, all this extra project information about what people have been doing is a way for you all as future applicants to learn from, see how, how they specifically implement ecosystem-based management. So we hope that these are just really helpful tools for you all as you continue in the application process and with your own projects. So going back to the website, I just want to also mention we have this tab that's additional resources. These are all downloadable PDFs with some project summaries, fact sheet, some other project highlights. So if you want to download these, you can do that. Our last tab over here, stay connected. I wanted to mention that we do have a feedback survey. My internet's a little slow, so it's not popping up right now, but if you're playing around with the dashboard or the story maps and you like it, you don't like it, take a minute or two to just fill out this quick survey, give us some feedback on these resources and let us know, if they're beneficial to you, because I would love to be able to improve them so that they are helpful. But then there's some links to our New York Sea Grant website. Follow us on social media. If you have any questions about the Small Grants Program, the application process, or the content on this website, you can email us here. You can also email Dave or I directly as well. Yeah, and so then if you want to actually go and apply, if we go to this Apply for Funding tab, which many of you probably visited already to register for the webinar. It's got information about who can apply for the small grant, which is directly in the RFP as well. And then if you scroll down here, you can apply now for funding. So if we click that, this is going to take us to right back to the New York Sea Grant website, to the application portal. So this again gives you some background information. Along the side panel here, these are all of the forms that you will need for your application. And then if you click apply now here, it will take you right into the application portal to fill out your information and upload those files that are needed and submit. So that is all. Let me go back. So that is all right here under the apply for funding tab on the new site. So I think that's all, and I'll pass it back to you, Dave.
Can you bring up the apply now page?
Sure, yes.
The actual, not the, yeah, just click that one, please. That's good. Here we go. Yeah, if you could leave it there for just a minute while we continue. Thank you, Megan. And that, I don't know about the rest of you, but that website's fabulous. I really encourage you to take advantage of it, not just for the small grants program, but for the storyboards, a lot of the other Great Lakes information that's there. It's just really, really well done. Kudos to Megan. I really appreciate it, and it's just a really great resource. So if you haven't had a chance to kind of sneak around on it, I would encourage you to do that. Wanted Megan to leave it here because now it gets into the nuts and bolts of the program. So if you're going to apply, here's where you go to do it. This project will be funded as a subcontract to you from Cornell University. It's heavy in grant process. Welcome to Cornell University. So we will help you through it all, but just please be aware that it is a very intensive granting process that we will all go through together, and we've all survived it and made it, but it has to all conform. It's right in the RFP. It indicates what you need to provide and what you need to submit when you apply online. As Megan indicated, the full call, the full RFP is on there, so you can go through, utilize your own checklist if you need to. A couple of very important things is you need to fill out the cover sheet that is there. You then obviously need to give a full program description, which is your definition of it, including all of the things that are indicated on page 3. You have to include the 90-4 budget form, and you have to include the subcontractor commitment form, interesting, form, and we request that they all be submitted as one file. So if you can please put them all together in one file, because we get a number of applications and we don't want to have pieces get misallocated. The exciting part of this, This is at its core a 5-page proposal. So when you're doing your project description, which will include all the things identified on page 3, 5 pages. And I am a person that when I manage grants of this nature, if it's 6, I will rip off or delete the 6th page and all people will review is 5. Giving a 6, 7, 8, 9 pages does not give you, again, any add bonus. In fact, it diminishes it because I take it off at 5. Once the proposal itself starts, that's it. There are several things that you don't have to include in the 5 pages, and those are identified in the RFP as well, what needs to be included or not. I'm not going to go through all that detail because for each different organization, it gets very specific. Happy to answer those questions during Q&A or at a later time. The evaluation of the proposals, it is also outlined in the RFP how we will evaluate it. A team of 5 people is put together representing New York Sea Grant, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the New York State Department of State Coastal Management Program, and then we utilize 2 external folks as part of the review team as well. I do not review the proposals. I don't review them for, I read them for the application process. Do they conform to the RFP? I am not on the technical review panel that reviews these proposals. Reason I am not is that gives me the ability to answer any of your questions. I can give you my honest answer. I can give you my belief. I can give you my thoughts, but it has no bearing on the review. And I always share that with people so you know you are free to ask me anything. It will not hamper the review process because I am not one that reviews them and gives them any ranking or rating. I do that very specifically so I can be your resource in providing information to you without it coming back on you in any way, shape, or form through the review process. So I stay out of that aspect of it. I enjoy reading them, but I don't review them. Also, again, under the funding guidelines, it talks specifically about how the money will be awarded to you. So I encourage you to talk with your grant people, your finance people, to make sure they understand how this will work so that they're on board right from the beginning. It will make it much easier. We have a very short time frame to try to get money to you. Obviously, if paperwork's not all signed by September 1, but you have received our approval, you'll be able to back charge to September 1. But sometimes, as we all know, paperwork processes take longer than they need. Also, if you are going to be submitting a project that is focused on monitoring and assessing water quality using any kind of water quality data, you will have to fill out and file a QUAP with DEC. We had to have 3 this past time do that. They were done very easily. We appreciate Emily from New York State DEC, the Eastern Lake Ontario, St. Lawrence River watershed coordinator for DEC out of Watertown. Emily did a great job working with folks. So if you do need to submit a QUAP, that will occur after you receive approval from us. A contract will not be authorized until the QUAP is signed off, but that doesn't need to happen in advance of. There's no sense putting people through extra time, effort, energy, and work. That is the basis of the RFP. As I said, please read it. We are bound by it. It builds off of the Cornell University, New York State MOU and what we can and cannot do. And again, I will reiterate, what we are looking for is projects that you can go to a proposal and go on page 4, subsection 5, item G, it says thou shalt build a kayak launch. And we want to fund that. You're going to need to do that for us. It's not, well, we thought kayak launch, but now we'd like to do a trailer boat launch. That's not what it says. That's what we're after. That's what we want to fund, which I'm very excited about because so many times we have so many proposals that sit, in projects that sit on the shelf that are part of these plans that never get funded. We really want to help you all move forward with those. So as Megan knows and Roy knows, I can talk forever and I don't want to. So with that, I'm going to stop kind of the overview. Thanks again to Megan. And I would be happy to answer any questions you have. So if you want to either just unmute yourself or raise your hand, I love the little hand icon. I need a special one for me, but that's a different story. We'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
And if anyone wants to just throw their questions in the chat too, I'll monitor the chat for you, Dave.
Great, thank you. So it looks like we've, Stephen? Oswald, do you have a hand up? If you're asking, you're muted.
Sorry, I don't think I have a hand up, but I was just checking one of the, oh, my camera's not working. One of the sites we work at is in Oneida Lake, and I think, does that count as within the Southeast region?
It does. It is in the watershed of the Great Lakes, so these projects can be watershed. I just encourage you, and again, this is how I talk, so I can say these things. I encourage you to show the link to the Great Lakes watershed.
Okay.
I'm very involved with Oneida Lake myself. I happen to live on the north side of Oneida Lake, so it's a special place to me. But I've always told people there, you know, if you're going to do a project walleye on Oneida Lake, how does that link to the Great Lakes? So make those linkages on any project that you submit. If it's an inland project, they can be as valuable as a, you know, on the lake proper or on the river proper project. But make sure you share with us how that link is relating to the watershed.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Dave.
Certainly.
Dave, we have one question in the chat from Andrew. It says, can an organization submit more than one proposal?
You can. You'll only receive one, which is a standard policy for us with this program. And it might not be your priority. I don't know. So be cautious of that. Be thinking about it. But yes, you're not limited to one. Robert?
My internet cut out when you were talking about it being needed to be linked to an LWRP. Was that was a hard requirement?
No, that was purely an example. It needs to be linked to a community-based plan. It could be one of the new CLEAR. I can't even tell you what CLEAR stands for. Maybe Megan or Roy can tell me. But their new CLEAR proposals that they work with the communities on, it could be an LWRP, it could be a community comprehensive plan, it could be a habitat management plan, it could be a tourism development zone plan from Seaway Trail. So it just has to be a community-based plan that has been approved through the community-based process. And again, it's, you know, here's what, you know, this is, you know, the Dunkirk LWRP, Dunkirk Harbor Management Plan, you know, on page 10, this is what we all agreed was a great project. We'd like to get funding for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Good question. Thank you. And if any of you have a question of, oh, does this plan qualify? Just send me an email saying this is the plan I would like to work from. It just has to be a on-the-shelf plan that has been approved either at the local level, regional level, or state level. Anything else anybody has? Megan, Roy, or I now see Shannon Doherty joined us. Hello, Shannon. How are you today? Anything that I missed that I need to add in, Megan, Roy, or Shannon?
Nothing from me, Dave. Doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Shannon. Alrighty, folks, we don't need to keep you longer than we need. Thank you very much for joining us. If you do have questions, please feel to call or email me. I'll try to get back to you as quick as I can on any specific questions you have. And like I said, not being a reviewer, I can be pretty open, bold, honest, and give you opinions as well as process information to try to help you be successful. And I look forward to seeing many of your names on proposals as they come in. So again, Megan, thank you very much for handling all this. And you just moved from my right to my left. Good Lord, you're moving all around the screen. So thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day, folks.